Boom, Two Planker Podcast. Today on the show, we got Eric Iberg, Inspired Media Concepts, Armada, 15 years of making ski movies. So, Eric, thank you for being on here, dude.
Hell yeah, you're more than welcome. It's like 25 years though since I made my first one.
Yeah, there you have it. Yeah, at it in the late 90s. And we'll get into it, but you took a couple years away from skiing, and now you're back. And you got some exciting stuff coming up.
That's true comments.
Yeah. So this is the first thing I want to start with, because I was talking to you on the phone yesterday, telling you about the magazine digitizing project I was working on. A few years ago, you archived all those ski movies on your YouTube channel, on the Inspired YouTube channel. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what do you think the importance is of preserving ski history and remembering that history and sharing it with the new generation? Why do you think that's important?
In our sport, I think it's super important because that's what our sport was created off of, was the movies. It wasn't the contest results, right? So to have these early Poor Boys movies, the early level ones, the wind-up films, like all these different movies, and then like the idea that no one could really make movies until the digital era, maybe 2005. Like, I mean, you have to remember there's maybe like 6 movies in the world in 2000. And I think by 2005, there was like 110 produced DVDs of our sport, right? 110, there's not 110 ski movies ever in the history. And so like, that was how people made the outlet. Like, I mean, the field productions kid in Norway, you know, Philip, like what he did in that whole scene with, I forgot the name of his production company, but like he was huge. And then Andreas Hotnitz's brother, because the movies would introduce everyone. That's how you learn like who is ill all around the world in every region of the United States of America. So I think like the history being preserved is the idea mostly that that's how our sport was created, by creating an art with the awesome tricks that everyone does, and then just making sure it was known. Because I mean, there's better movies from 20 years ago than there is today, because no one makes movies anymore. They drop clips or edits.
Yeah. So what do you think about why do you think that it's important to make movies rather than just clips and edits? Because I remember
the clips and edits.
Yeah, go ahead.
Clips and edits keep you relevant, right? That was kind of the whole concept. All of a sudden, like, I mean, we're the original content creators, right? Like when we wanted to make a ski movie, it's like, yo, let's make some content. I mean, we got photographers out with us to shoot photos for magazines. We're filming for a movie. We're touring it. We're producing content and putting it out there. So what happened was we forgot that we were making art and not just producing content to stay, like, because we didn't have to stay. I mean, skiers did. They had to prove they were dope every year to stay relevant. It was kind of like if you had a segment, it was like, sponsor me again, please. And then if you had a closing, you're like, yes, I'm signing again, or an opening, you know, and stuff like this. So the movie element's so important because it's how you create, like, why people would like you. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's like if you imagine if you just had to like name a famous painter or something, like if we just had to judge Da Vinci by his everyday life and being normal, just like us, he might be a loser, you know, but we only experienced his art. And so we judge him off his art. And so this whole thing has been lost almost in our sport, where you no longer get judged off your art, put on the podium of how dope you are in our sport, you know, because it's just lost now. It's content creation and winnings and being the best and putting the most shit out and etc. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of why you create stuff and unique, cool things.
Yeah. And I think you describing it as art has, because I think you mentioned that yesterday as well when we talked, it's made something click for me, because I can understand, like before I had trouble understanding something like the Samurai Showdown segment from Be Inspired. Like, it's art. And for a while I was having trouble understanding like what drives us to want to film skiing and what drives us to want to document somebody doing something that's done before, but doing it as stylish as possible. And
Well,
it's
that
because
segment,
it's
I'm going to
because
say
it's
it's
art.
a segment out of a movie, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so when creating a segment in a movie, it has to flow. So that segment, why does it get created? Why does Phil have his own urban segment? We're making a 2-year movie.
Yeah.
Henrik is injured the first year. Phil's injured the second year. There's only 2 skiers in the whole movie. So when we're looking at it, we're like, oh, what do we do? Well, Phil's always in the streets of Quebec. Okay, man, he's going up against himself. It's a samurai showdown. He's going to go fucking murder this. And now creating style or art, it's a perfection of you. It's what you do the best. So when you watch Phil ski and Henrik, especially Phil, it is a preconceived notion so much of the venue, the spot, the execution of the maneuver. And then not only that, but that's the visual element of how we put a segment. But now we say, okay, I want to make a song because so you're going to see shit you've never seen before by an individual. So why the fuck would you want to hear something that you've heard before? So then it's okay, let's make a soundtrack. And now we have a soundtrack. And it's okay, what kind of beat do we need for this? We're calling the segment Samurai Showdown. We're calling the song Samurai Showdown. So we make a beat that's fucking quick. And then it's okay, who's the illest rapper and who's the illest dance hall artist? So at this time, if you I was just talking about with Phil yesterday. So we put Massacre, who's a dance hall artist from Jamaica, and we got to handpick these people, man. It was wicked. And so I'm oh, Massacre, man, this guy's been up and coming for 6 years in Jamaica. He's just about to bust. And if you type him in, he's fucking big. He just signed with Def Jam this year, 2024. So that's a 14-year journey this man has been on. And so we find this guy, put him in. His flow's pretty crazy in that segment, but lyrically he was at a different level in dancehall. And then we're Cardinal Official. He's Canadian. Fuck yeah. He's the OG of Canada in hip hop. So then we go to Cardinal Official and we're but his origins are Jamaica too. So he understood how big the other artist was. Then I go, guys, you guys are making a song called Samurai Showdown. And then the artists have to outdo each other. So then I'm making artists outdo each other vocally while Phil's trying to outdo himself visually. And then that's how you create a piece of art for 3 minutes and 10 seconds with one individual and the other guy gets injured.
It's so ill, dude. That segment is so sick. And I think what you told me yesterday, so much stuff clicked. It's these guys are entertainers. They're not athletes. You guys are making art. You're not a ski movie, if done right, isn't documenting oh, this is the first time this trick was done and this maneuver was done. And then from a very athletic point of view, you guys are making art because you're entertainers and you're visual artists and you're and they're doing these tricks in a way that's artistic, not just for the sake of doing
Let's take the most artistic skier in the history of our sport, Eric Pollard. So hands down, I say he's my number one as far as the artistic element of our sport, top 3 of all time with Candide and Tanner, right? And so when I look at it, the problem is kids are getting confused because when you watch something, you're I can do it better. Oh, why is he on the U.S. team? I can do those tricks. Why does he get sponsored? I can do that. Look at Pollard spins 360s. I don't even know if he went over he went over 7, maybe 5 times in his life, And so he is the biggest entertaining artist because even his best movie that the last one he put out, it has the least amount of skiing you've ever seen. But he told his whole life story because he found the audio of different speeches and presentations that matched up to tell exactly his journey and path over 40 fucking years. And I'm just sitting there, I'm yo, you so next level. But yeah, that's what people need to understand. It is art. Why do you think Pollard's better than everyone else? It's not because he spins fucking dubs. It's not because he fucking skied AK faster than anyone. It's not because he won fucking shit nonstop. So, and same with all these guys. How many movies did Tanner really make? He's been in 200 and some. He's made 15 or 20 of his own. So cool, he won 7 X Games, but that's not why he's still charging today and shooting urban at age 40 years old today,
Yeah.
So it's about the art, guys.
So I agree that that's how you have like the most impact. But what do you think about when someone like Henrik can be professionally, quote unquote, successful in the competition scene, hold it down, be better than anybody else, and then also put out better art than anybody else? Like, do you think
He's
that's
a hybrid of Tanner.
okay?
So like he got to be in the crew, right? Since he was little. And so like he got to watch what Henrik learned was he absorbs everything. He knows every ski movie, he knows every person, he knows every trick, he knows every piece of history. And so by being around people like me and Tanner, he got to watch not only what to do, but Tanner taught him a lot what not to do. Right. And so if Tanner, like, imagine if people like he was, no one hated him, right? But we needed someone to hate because we had someone like Simon to love or whoever else looked perfect, right? And so Henrik has been able to create this element where competition is fucking fun when you compete against yourself and you really understand that. Henrik understands that to the fullest. I mean, how many times does he not qualify for fucking finals? You know, put it in a perspective. It's not there being like, oh, bummer. Like when he gets seven, like, dude, he just was in Saudi Arabia, did this event, flew home over a day from the middle of a desert, and then it snowed in his front yard, and then he just told his girl to film him for 8 hours while he shredded and then put out fucking like another little edit. Like he's so fucking stoked on skiing and like being better every day. So Henrik is your best example if you ever really want to learn, like, wow, like his dream on the fucking art to create the edits because he learned the history. He's like, oh man, I still want a closing segment. Like no kids nowadays want an individual segment in a ski movie. They want to roll with their posse and have fun. And we're old school mentality is like, yo, I want closing segment. I want to be better than all the people I'm still skiing with, even though they're my best friends. You know, and you're not trying to be better than them. You just want to be the best you.
Yeah.
And when you're around the best other people, like you're like, whoa, they're fucking awesome. You know, like imagine when Tanner, Phil, and Henrik ski together. They're all looking at each other. They're like, you're fucking ill. They're like, nah, dog, you're ill. And they're like, fuck, I better be ill. So yeah, it's I think there is a path, and I think that's what can keep it alive because competition is not needed. Everyone quit fist moguls and aerials to start the sport. Now, then all of a sudden the idea of we're real athletes too, snowboarding got it. And then we just got totally lost on why we did it. But I mean, think about it. Snowboarding had Olympics 2002. It took us till 2014. So this whole mentality, like in the late 2000s, all of a sudden of being real athletes, we should get in the games too. We've been boosting bigger than them since 2002. CR and fucking Candide at the first X Games went like 10 feet bigger than the next snowboarder, maybe 15. So there was like an ego of why we should have what other people have. And there was so much money in snowboarding where it was just kind of lost of why we wanted to be in the Olympics. And then one generation out, you're like, well, I didn't quit mogul contest to start this sport. I'm going to go fucking huck a dub and do a water ramp. Woo! Yoon does it.
Oh man, I love talking to you. I got so many different directions I want to go, but I want to ask you about
I got time. I pre-rolled a bunch.
We're good. So you mentioned something yesterday that I'd like you to expand on. Like, I think your concept of like a larger than life skier, like Henrik versus Idolo, for example, just since we were talking about Henrik, like making a character out of yourself, making an icon, making yourself art pretty much, like a larger than life superhuman figure. So do you want to talk about that a little bit and like the older generation's willingness to do it?
Yeah, so I think like the easiest way, last fall I posted all these pictures from the Oakley 1242 shoot on the salt flats. And I was looking at everyone's style, right? Yoon's like in a fucking tuxedo. Mikel's like in basketball gear with gold chains and gold teeth and a do-rag. Anthony looks like some like hippie hesh person. Julian's dressed up like some fucking samurai from so everyone, it's more of not creating a character, but being a character, right? Because it wasn't purposeful. It was just so fun to be free and be however you want, right? And whether that's wearing do-rags and 3XL clothes for the first time, but you maybe didn't do it in the streets of a city or your suburb, and so like it was all these personas that were created and it was fun. But over the 25 years, like that's what the Dumont versus T Hall. I mean, even that's like the beginning of the nicknames and like the battles and the people and like to makes you pick a team that you like. Oh man, like even at the beginning we had like, so our crew is like the chronic crew, right? Like Tanner, CR, Mikael, Shoyes, because we smoked a lot of weed. And then you had like the Booze Boys, which were the Colorado crew, which were these Michigan, Indiana transplants of like Tuffelmeyer, Omar Ote, Nick Mercon, all X Games guys. But it was like a joke, right? Show up, be like, fucking drunkards, what up, Booze Boys? They're like, oh, what are you guys gonna do? Go smoke? And then it was kind of funny because everyone had a crew, everyone had a name for their crew, everyone had individual characters in their crew. And then it was able to expand because we were dancing monkeys. And whether we were creating images and movies where we're like, oh, what's our lifestyle skits like? Further, like, oh, what do you want to do that's funny? Some people would take it to the next level and do awesome skits. Some people would just do fake lifestyle where they dress up and pretend like that's what they look like. And I don't know. I just think that's something that got lost too, where everyone's like, oh, just make sure you're regular like everyone else. You're not regular like anyone else. You fucking special. That's why you can do those dope ass tricks that no one else in the world can do, that they want to scroll, see you, like it, comment. Like, don't try to be like other people. Don't try to be like the kid that you grew up, like be yourself, man. Be so extremely different where they're going to love or hate you. Because if they love or hate you, they talk about you. If they're just like, dude, you're dope, who the fuck cares then? You're nothing in history.
Yeah.
So that's part of the art too. Like when you create art, like why would you want to, if we create it for ourselves, but why create something that no one has an opinion on? Whether that's your character, whether that's your movie, whether that's your pro model ski, make something where people love it or hate it. And then at least they're talking about it.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the Magma crew and like the videos they've been putting out?
I have. I do my best to try to consume everything as much as I can. I love that energy. First of all, I think I'm a bigger fan of Owen than the whole crew because of whether he's the cameraman. I know what producers do. Yeah. And I see him as I deep dive. I don't know him. I don't even know. I just learned his name. I just saw him in a fucking one of the Magmas and he's wearing an Inspired hoodie. I was like, yo, you as fuck. What? You're wearing that? People like Magma? They don't even know what Inspired is. And but I mean he's doing that magazine browser or whatever, like, and then he's doing like this content, making sure it's out there so at least people that like the characters in Magma can follow them, right? So he's giving all these outlets for everyone in the industry. Now what I'll say is the outlets he's giving to all these people, they should use them more. I suggest all his friends buy $100 page ad in his fucking magazine and promote whatever it is they're selling, whether it's their sponsor shit or their own shit, and just make an ad with their face. Because the fact he allows people to buy $100 page ads, and the last time I checked, they were $15,000 in old ski magazines. Like, step up, kids, go make something where people are like, I can't believe he has orange hair. I can't believe he wears that tight of clothes. Oh man, he's so awesome. So yeah, super fan of Owen. Big up Magma crew.
That's tight. The reason I bring them up is because they do the skits, like you get Alex Hall and Hunter Hess, and like they're both like the movies are sick. They're doing stuff. There's crazy shit in these movies, but they open up with like these goofy ass skits, or they have their weekly vlog series where they're just goofing around, and yeah, it's like you were saying, it like brings a human side to it. Makes him a character. And
but I would suggest,
it just says something.
Because I watch it all, and I feel like, man, they're like untouchable humans, right? They're so skilled, so talented. But I feel like when you make it that touchable or that relevant, it actually hurts the character, right? So Alex Hall, right? If he's wearing a $400 t-shirt at X Games, and I feel like I'm relevant to him, Like, oh man, he's just like me. Oh man, they have so much fun. And then he goes and wears $400 shirt. He's not like me anymore. But if he really like, he's like epitome of what everyone in skiing wants, right? And if he played that up, like I always just think of him, I hold my hand like this because I'm just like, you see my watch?
Yeah.
I just feel like he should be in a Rolex ad every day. So if
He could be the villain so easy. He could just lean into it, be the tall, handsome, rich villain.
Yeah. And so like if he overplayed that a little more, because I feel like he's so like the guy at my high school that I grew up at, and same with everyone in their crew, and it's awesome. But at the same time, dude, they're so special. Go make me feel that I can't ever be you. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really important because like you can never be idolo, but you should use it as motivation to be a better yourself because he's besting himself every day. So you don't want to be someone you idolize, but you're like, dude, I want to be idolized too. And so I don't know. I'm a big fan of a lot of the new kids because of their skill sets, but I feel like they're missing out because of the character they did not create and the accessible and touchability that they allow everyone to feel they have.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
the only reason I feel like I can't be Alex Hall is because how does he reach that grab with his body? I'm a tall dude. Seems fucking hard. That's the only thing I feel like I'm not relevant to.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. Like the videos, the skits do make them feel relatable and feel like it's one of your homies that you're just watching rather than, tall, handsome.
And it worked in skateboarding because it was so out of hand where you're like, oh my God, did they just piss in his mouth? Oh my God, did they this shit that you'd watch in the skateboard where it was the friends partying together while they traveled the world? It was over the top lifestyle with friends that made people be like, dude, what is that lifestyle?
Yeah.
I promise you, over 60% of those kids' fans travel the world, go to fancy ski resorts, eat nice meals like them, and live the exact same lifestyle that they live.
Yeah.
Because it's a luxury sport. So your consumer probably lives more luxurious than you because they're under 18 and they're still under their mom and dad's money. So they're still going for a free week holiday at Vail.
Yeah.
And they love you. So make yourself seem a little doper.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you said that because I was talking to KP when we did the Tree Fort episode.
Kevin Perrin?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was asking him about like the step crew. And I was like, these are all dudes from New England. The Northeast is pretty nice. They all went to academies and their movies make them seem like this like really sketchy group of characters that are like living on the fringes of society, even though like I know at least growing up in New England, like I grew up around like a million people like them, like they're academy kids. And KP was like, yeah, they took one little truth of who they were, like one little aspect of themselves and blew it up and made it the whole thing and made a character out of it. And,
but they did it because they did it dark in their art. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they made art out of it.
I'm a fan of all of them and their work ethic and their skill sets. I was never a fan of their movies. And the reason why, but I watched them all and I have this strong of opinion. It goes back to love it or hate it, right? Have an opinion about your art.
Yeah.
And the reason why I personally didn't like it was because like, dude, I remember that one of their first movies, like I think 3/4 of the crew got injured. And it's all like slow music. And like, I'm like, dude, why is he going to hit that gap? He knows he's going to get injured. And the music builds it up like the gnarliest in run, like all the whatever they do. And then they explode. And then there's a hospital shot. And I'm like, yo, if I'm a 10-year-old, do I want to get into this sport? Fuck no. All my homies just killed themselves. They're not sure if they want to make another movie next year. The music makes me want to cry because I'm so sad that I don't even know him, but he broke his leg. Give thanks he's alive. And so it's really fun to watch them. And that's why they've all moved on to their art. They moved to SoCal and love cameras and storytelling. And I think that was their calling. Skiing was like this awesome thing that allowed them to do what their creative outlet is. And that's why this sport is so awesome too, because if you focus on your art, it's going to give you a million more outlets. If you focus on winning, you're probably going to get 18th place someday in your life and then be like, I'm a loser.
Yeah.
So Yeah. So big up whole step crew, man. I hope nothing was taken bad there because I am a fan of everything they do. I still follow their careers, still watch all the shit that they put out with skiers. But then still watch the shit Clayton puts out now, right? I can watch a piece with any youth that in the ski world, and I'm like, is this Clayton Villa I'm watching? And I'm like, yo, so what that means is Clayton's character is more heavy than these youth that he's making edits of. And so his influence on his art, those kids don't have a big enough character yet. You know? And so who was the dope ass segment that came out? This was it Keegan Kilbride?
Yeah, Keegan. Yeah.
That perfect example. I could have, like, if I didn't know anything about skiing, I only knew Clayton and his edits. That was Clayton Villa.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, bro. I think yeah, you're getting the mental cogs turning right now. So, okay, what I was saying earlier. So I can understand like documentary style thing. I can understand making skiing funny because to me, skiing is an objectively like it's a ridiculous sport, you know? Super expensive. You're sliding down the snow. You're surrounded by a bunch of other weirdos. So I can understand saying something funny in a ski movie, but saying something serious or like taking the art really serious, that's always been the step that for me, I just for some reason I have trouble understanding it. Like I understand Stepped, you know, making a serious film when they're all getting hurt, but saying something serious when everything's going well on skis, it just seems like
give an example of what you mean by serious. I think I'm close to understanding you.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to think, man. Like if something that's
like something about environment or politics.
No. Well, we could get into that later if you want to too. But no, like taking I think just for me, it's always been a leap to take the art really serious. Like we were talking about the Samurai Showdown segment. Like that's taking skiing art serious to a degree that I've never taken it before. Because you're not like I always just think that ski like if I'm making a movie, I want to say something funny because I think that skiing's funny and the whole environment's funny. But when you make it artistic and not funny, and like really put a lot of thought and effort into the art of it, I don't know. It's always been hard for me to take skiing serious to that degree where you're trying to really say something that isn't funny, if that makes sense.
I think why we do it is so. I'll give you another example. Jay Leventhal, love him, known him since day one. But his slogan of Jay Skis is "It's just skiing."
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there sleeping on a floor, like for the 15th year in 2012 when he starts it. I got friends that are dying, you know, like every year, like fucking 11, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like it's just like getting out of hand. My friends could die every day that we film and we do whatever. So to me, and then the fact that, you know, it's personal sacrifices, right? Why skiing's funny? Because I hit like dance hall music, right? These are the poorest people in the world. Like it's poor person's music. And this is something that I love about what skiing's brought to my life too, is I combine a luxury sport with the poorest music in the world. Yeah. And I've created some crazy things for bringing people together. But ski people have life so good that they potentially want to go out and kill themselves every day. Now on the music side, they're like, dude, can I have $1? Can I beg you $1? Because I'm hungry. I haven't eaten in a day and a half. So like it's so I think it's funny as fuck too, you know, but at the same time, we won a birth lottery. We make a choice how serious we want to take life and how much effort and energy we want to put into it. And if you really look at people like Tanner, Phil, and Henrik, you know, and like other people, Pollard, Candide, like it's not just skiing. It's fucking everything that we breathe. It's like all these skis behind me since I was fucking like 14 years old in 94. You know, like it's just every single thing where it's I don't know. So I guess that's how the art kind of influences us. And then for our the shit that we like, the music we like, it all crosses over to be kind of serious and grateful music. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you really listen to the soundtracks, it's all about appreciating shit or just fucking murdering shit.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. Because that's what we do. We appreciate it. We go fucking murder the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess people do give their whole life to the sport. And it's the same. like I always thought skiing is funny, but I think it's the same thing as if you're watching like some sort of football documentary where they're portraying the NFL and like doing slow-mo shots of someone like getting tackled with some serious ass music. Like at the end of the day, that's grown men playing a backyard sport.
And tights. And it's
Like,
just
that shit's
Western
funny,
culture
too.
because we're you have to understand though too, we are dancing monkeys to luxury people. And if people can understand that is how we sell our art to the highest level and that's how we exist, it's not because you're a pro skier, it's because you can dance in front of wealthy people and they enjoy you and want to buy your product. Because a pair of skis is $900. What else do you know of that you go and spend $900 fucking on as a kid? Now I got, it's changing, and that's only the skis, not the boots, bindings, mounting, transportation, lift ticket, food, like the list goes on and on. So you really have to understand who your audience is, who your clientele is, and why that you are just a dancer, because we're trying to get some free skis here. So really understand that your whole market that you're selling to ain't looking for free skis and don't need to. Their grandkids don't even need to.
Yeah.
So it's fun because I never cared when we do stuff in skiing. My first go around up until 2016, what we did. We just woke up and said, what can we do today? Woo, let's fucking do it. No one else will do it. Not what is our ROI, return on investment. Never. And that's why we created stuff that no one ever created. Because everyone else would be like, why would we make a B&E Invitational? It's a fucking $1 million event. And we're only going to get $100,000 for it. And it's going to it's frustrating as fuck, but that's every project we did. And that's what everyone did in our whole generation. IF3s. Can you imagine the effort Felix had to put into IF3 to bring everyone in the world together to just watch ski movies in Montreal?
Yeah.
I guarantee he didn't fucking buy a house from it. He probably lost his car from it. And he probably grew gray hairs in the 20s. So it's just like, I don't know how I tangented there, but seriousness, marketing yourself. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's serious shit, man. It's such an opportunity. And so now this go around, I'm just really looking at it. I'm like, no way, man. Like I really I'm in a garage. I'm cold as fuck right now. Like just figured out how to pay a couple bills today. But I just had an event at Wild Mountain that had 105 ski kids, organizing one over in Andorra with Henrik right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's fun as fuck, man. No way I get to do this. Do you know what my neighbors are doing? They're either unemployed or hate their fucking jobs, even if they have a big house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking stoked here in the cold, smoking splits, talking skiing to you.
Yeah, dude, it is. It is serious, especially when you look at the risk that everyone's going through to make the stuff. But I think, maybe the reason that like a lot of like my generation and the younger generation has trouble making serious content and making stuff that, they put their all into for art is because they have that feeling of like, well, like in all the stuff that's jammed down our throats about, oh, you should feel guilty for, enjoying your life basically and having the opportunity to ski. They're probably thinking like, oh, well, all I could do is say something funny because like this is like what, who am I to take this serious when So I think and
I'm 44, right? So
yeah.
You're like, I get what you're saying because I don't put myself in those shoes because I can't.
Yeah.
But then what I'm going to say to the youth that really love this shit and want to make it fun, I dream to make people laugh, man. Yeah. Like it's something that I talk about with Phil and Henrik all the time. I'm like, how do we make people laugh, man? Because it's like we laugh nonstop when we're all together.
Yeah.
But to portray laughter in art, so challenging.
Yeah.
Like that's why being a stand-up is so hard, or like making people laugh in a movie is hard. We can all laugh as friends and film it together, but the only way it's really entertaining is if your friend didn't die when you filmed it and it was funny as fuck. Just like how we laugh when our friends crash, as soon as we know they're okay.
Yeah.
No way, you landed on your head. You okay? So. Yeah. Oh, no, but I agree with you. It's like you shouldn't take it serious. And I can only imagine your generation because the younger generation, I don't like. It's crazy how people like feel bad about themselves for the opportunity they were born into.
Yeah.
Or who they are. The shit I hear from people that say bad things about themselves. I don't have one bad thing to say about myself. Now, what if you woke up and thought about it, looked in the mirror and thought something bad about it? Yo, you're already fucking killing yourself, man. Go do some affirmation. Fuck what people say. Look in that mirror and tell yourself how dope you are because you woke up today. And then fucking go kill it. And then fucking laughing is how you can portray your art. Now, maybe people are just laughing because they're like, fuck, I want to laugh because everything's so fucking sad in my life. I don't know. But if you're putting out ski shit and you want to make people laugh, man, make me laugh a little harder. Like, the only movie I ever made people laugh was Dudski, and I dressed up Kai and Sean as midgets because they were 11 and 13. And I was like, yo, I'm going to give you a midget song. Dude, if I put that song out nowadays with kids, I'd be like a pedophile. I'd be anti-woman, you know, but it was funny as fuck. I put Sean in diapers.
Yeah.
As an 11-year-old, had him running around and the song was horrible. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But we won an award for best humor in a ski movie, but we just did it because I was laughing at him every day, being like, you guys are like midgets, man. I'm like 24 years old and fucking rolling around with 11 and 14-year-olds.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something that you're talking about. You're talking about kind of the sacrifices, especially financial, for making something happen in skiing and just doing it for the love of the game. Like people will hit me up and be like, yo, how much are you making off this podcast? It's like hardly anything at all. And then if you look at the time spent on it, it's even worse rate of return.
It's like 5 times worse than minimum wage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're not making anything off of this, but you do it for the love of the sport and you do it for the love of the art and like just the passion. And I don't know where this is going, but this is something you mentioned in the level 1 interview you did. Like, you've always been trying, instead of getting a bigger piece of the pie, you're just trying to make a bigger pie because you love the sport. And I feel the same way. Like, I'm not trying to get a bigger financial piece of the pie or like anything. Like, I want to put like kids onto who you are and like share these stories and stuff. So where that was going was like, I just want to know your philosophy about that, because you've had a whole career in skiing where your primary concern was just making the sport as dope as possible. So I'd like to hear your philosophy about that.
I don't know. I guess it happened naturally because it's just like everything I did. It's like when I quit school and Tanner quit school, it's like, okay, I have a camera. You can do tricks. We didn't have twin tips. Okay, dog, like I can pay your gas if you film me, you know, or something like this. So I slept on things. Now, then it slowly evolved. I met the 3 Phils. But right at the beginning, because everyone was so passionate, no twin. So imagine like 98 to 2000, every person that's creating is complaining, right? Fuck, I hate being in this TGR movie because they didn't put this shot in the movie. Oh man, my ski company only makes a 180 centimeter ski. You know, like there was so many things where it was like every day we're like, dude, what the fuck, man? Why don't we have this? And so it got to a point where it's like, dude, we just shut the fuck up. What are we going to do? Let's go make our own movie. So let's go start our own ski company. So it starts with the evolution of like with the movies where I work with the 3 Phils, we make a movie. And then it's like, hey guys, I don't want to make a movie every year. You know, like go make Playhouse films. And then evolves like Johnny Poor Boys is like, will you make a movie under Poor Boys? And I'm like, yeah, give me all the kids that like don't have the sponsor money to be paid to be in your movies. And then I'll make a movie on them and we'll call it Stereotype. So that'll help Poor Boys look like they're super dope because they have 2 movies that come out, you know, from Johnny DeCesare and Eric Iberg. So then it's to help build him. Then it's, okay, let's start Armada. All right, that helps out all these guys. Now you have to understand the year before, it's all the line team. So I'm making a movie making the line team look like the illest shit in the world. Why? It benefits to say, wow, independent ski companies are iller than rich ski companies. And then Armada comes out, you know, then a film for 1242. Then all of a sudden, so now you have Playhouse, you have Armada. Then it's like, Tanner, all right, fuck this. You're the boss. You got to make your own movies. Make a movie with him, 2004. It's like, all right, Tanner, go do your own thing. Then he goes off with CR and raps and make movies for a while. Then it's finally, Pollard was in every single one of my movies and he put the most effort in. So I'd poke and be like, yo, Paul, you got to make your own shit. And so finally stars align, we make idea, but then Nimbus is created. So now we have Fun Playhouse, we got Henrik Hall movies, we got Nimbus. Like now the athletes are controlling the narrative of what skiing is to be cool, because there's enough fucking independent crews out there that are young and fucking creating art in different ways totally, that are putting out movies every year, doing tours every year, raising sponsor money, taking it away from the bigger guys a little bit, et cetera, et cetera. So it wasn't like something that I wanted to do. It's just like, I never wanted to make a movie every year. And then all of a sudden, when I got into it and I made a movie my first year, I was the only one who didn't make a yearly movie. MSP, TGR, Poor Boys, and Level One, yearly movies, Formula, Warren Miller. I was just like, how do you guys think like of a movie every year? That took me 2 years to dream, 1 year to like execute, get the funding, and then like promote for a year before it even came out. And then now you want me to just start filming another movie? So I didn't understand the concept of how people made movies. And then it made sense to me. It's not a movie. It's a promotional video for products. And then you pay the film company to make sure this product has X amount of time in it. Closing is paid for, opening is paid for X amount of time. And I'm like, okay, I'm competing against people that make fucking promotional videos. Awesome. So to me, it was fun as fuck because no one else was really trying to do anything other than get paychecks from sponsors and then go to exotic locations and film dope skiing.
Yeah. The lifestyle. We were talking about that yesterday. Everyone just wants the lifestyle that comes with being in skiing rather than actually doing something with the opportunity with their position.
Yeah, it's an amazing lifestyle, man. Like any of us that like got to do it, like me at Highland Hills, like grew up 5 minutes away. If I forgot my ski boots, it was not a big deal for my mom to turn around and go. It's not a big deal for me to call on a payphone and pick it up. So even though it's a total different lifestyle, living in a suburb and going to a small hill than a mountain thing, it's still an opportunity just to be like, imagine all these opportunities are crazy. The people that you get to meet, the places you go. And so maybe kids are numb to it because that's their normal family dinners and their normal vacations and stuff like that. But to really step back and understand the community you're in as a youth and the opportunity you have for future in your adult, like you're really, everyone's missing it. I mean, that's why kids have agents and they only make $10,000 a year. They're so fucking stupid. They're like, I don't need that extra $2,000 I give my agent. And then I only make $2,000 after taxes, after everyone gets paid out. You know, it's just like these kind of thoughts are like really handicapped. You would never give someone a piece of your pie unless you had like how do you go on a vacation and have an agent? Are you making $500,000 a year? Like you shouldn't be like, how did you like, you must be making so much money if you can take holidays away from your sport and you know, it just nothing adds up. So that adds up to me that no one understands the concept of how lucky they are or the business in which they're in, which is understandable.
So you're saying that the people should, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm misinterpreting this, but like the lifestyle's intoxicating, especially if you grow up with it. So you just want to maintain it. So you're saying that people got to take the shit more serious. If you're an athlete, don't get intoxicated by being in the exotic locations. Like be about your money and making this actually work. If you're, you know,
and I'm not
you're
saying
talking about journalists, like,
and that's, I want to cut you off quick.
Yeah.
Because like, I hate money, but you need money to survive, right? I have a family.
Mm.
And so like, I get it, but like I went to Level One premiere in Denver, and the most common thing that everyone's like saying like, I love it. We don't do it for the money, right? And I was like, no, we don't. But why is everyone saying that all the fucking time? Like, why wouldn't you do it for the money? If your parents put $30,000 a year into you growing up to go to airbags, on trips, fucking sign you up for contests, you need to make a minimum of $30,000 a year to maintain the training level they brought you to get there, not the execution competition level. That has to be paid for on top of it, right? So nothing adds up. So, I mean, even the kid that's on the C team or the development team doing NORAMs, traveling the world, they're paying for their own fucking tickets, dude. They're paying for their coaches. They're paying for this. You're like, this is crazy.
Mhm.
And it's all an investment for one payout of an Olympic gold. And so that's okay to a luxury parent, you know, like, oh, I can invest this. That's such a, I love going to dinner and telling my friends that my child is in France competing for the United States of America. That alone makes them feel like a successful parent, even though they dropped 40G on their kid that year to ski around.
Yeah. Damn, bro. It's true.
So, I mean, that's just real. It's how it works. We are a luxury sport. 2 in the world, yachting, snow skiing. So just like, I only preach this because embrace the opportunity. That's why I say it out loud. Understand how lucky you are if you're listening to this. If someone brings you somewhere, if you get to sleep on the floor somewhere's house for a month, like, no, wait. I didn't even go to mountains till I was like, moved to Utah to go to University of Utah at 18. Yeah. You know, like, and then I was going to play baseball in school, but then I got opportunity only because I had a camera and someone's like, film me. So embrace it and then do more. Anytime someone gives you an opportunity, you better do 10 times more, because that's everyone I've ever worked with and myself will always give you more than we receive. If someone gives us $5,000, I'm going to give you $100,000 fucking in return. Not physical cash, but make sure the work we do is way more valuable than what you give me. So if you take that mentality, I think every kid could kill it.
Yeah, or just everyone involved in the sport, like you were saying. Like the journalists in skiing have always asked shitty questions. The team managers have been lazy. People sit on their laurels because they're like, oh, why would I work hard? I'm hanging out in Sun Valley. I hang out in Aspen. Like, I already got the lifestyle I want. Why push it? Why push myself? I'm already living exactly how I want to live.
Yeah. No, it's a crazy thing when I look at it from afar, because I mean, like, there's no leaders really. And like, even the people that are, they're individual, they're doing their own thing, but like, you really get confused on directions of where you're supposed to go with the sport. Like, unless you have conversations like this, Yeah. Because I don't know it. The only reason we made the sport awesome, because we were teenagers, early 20s, saying, fuck you old people, my age, 44. Right. And we gathered up and we just said, fuck you. And then we did what we wanted. And then they're like, whoa, you're a group and you're ill. So like, there's a group that's ill, that's young, is my point. And that's why the browser guys fucking wicked. That's why all like the 100 kids that started baggy pant companies this year are fucking wicked. And it's all, and I get it. 2024 is do it yourself, right? You got your microphone, you got your cameras. Like, I can do this. Do I need anyone? No, I got the internet. Like, we can link up wherever. But the problem is with the do-it-yourself mentality that we get preached every fucking day. It's not how life works. You need such a big team.
Yeah.
Like the team that like even Phil and Henrik had, just being with me and Tanner every day, sleeping on the couch, whether it's the knowledge, whether it's bringing places, whether it's saying, this is how it can work better for you. This is what you could create that I couldn't create. I wanted to make a demo tour since 1999. I didn't get to do it till 2013 with Phil and Henrik and Beepall. So it's just like that's why teams are so important. Also, knowledge of how, like, if every kid knew how much each other made in money, like, it'd be so awesome. I went so hard for so many years, like, just being like, dude, everyone tell each other how much money you make. And then we can flex even more, because every kid was their own agent for the first 10 years, mostly. And if you know how much everyone makes, well, then you don't have to say, thank you, team manager, for whatever you're offering me. You have to say, no, man, I'm in this many movies. I'm in that company pays my friend this amount. And I'm worth that because I kick his ass and I have longer segments in the same movies. So either I can go somewhere else or we can keep fucking dominating together.
Yeah.
But what kid wants to say that? But big up Phil Bellinger, because the 3 Phils, man, they did all this shit themselves. And so I got to watch them. And that's why I preach fucking agent, because those kids were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and they weren't giving it to someone because they wanted someone else to answer their phone calls, book their plane tickets, talk to their sponsors. They just did it themselves. and English was their second fucking language. So when I watch kids make less than $500,000 and have agents and they just don't want to talk to someone because they're on holidays somewhere taking pictures with their boyfriend or girlfriend, you're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? How do you like? Do you really want to like make it in the sport, or are you going to complain that there's no money in it next year and be like, well, like, there's no money in skiing, but my fucking trip to Mexico was awesome. Shut the fuck up.
All right, I want to talk about money in a second, but I like the DIY thing that you said, because I mean, if it like once there's so many different groups you're in, but if you're in the entrepreneurial space at all, a lot of people talk about how school teaches you the dumbest shit ever. Everyone, no matter your strengths and weaknesses, you got to take your tests alone, you got to do your homework alone. But then you get to the real world, and the only way you actually succeed is be like, this is my strength. You have a strength that complements my weakness, and my strength complements your weakness. Let's work together. So I think, yeah, like the DIY is great, like, you know, not waiting for permission or a lot of funding to start something, but you gotta collaborate. Collaboration.
My whole career, I wanted to do something. I knew someone was better than me, but I knew I had to do it myself first. So first movie, I edit, film everything myself. I do the like graphic design. I do those t-shirts. I do all the shit for ads all over the world. Next year, there's an editor for the whole movie. You know, then there's their a graphic design guy. By 2010, I just sit on the fucking phone all day because I know there's a dope ass beat maker in this country. I know there's this filmer in that country. I know this. And then all of a sudden I can like create this orchestra of like, dude, like we were putting out 2011, we had inspired media TV shows in 12 different countries of just different crews. So we had like Minnesota Represent, Idaho Homies, you know, homegrown crew in Welch's. We had Tahoe Buds. We had like all these different, and then we had like Japanese, Austrian, Scandinavian. But what it did is it made everyone promote each other because they each had 3 shows a year. And then the other shows always would promote each other. So then the Minnesota crew would be promoting the Tahoe crew. But then because they were inspired, Tanner, Phil, and Henrik are being like, we certify this shit because when said and done, all those small crews, the crew in Minnesota, moved more pair of Armadas than Tanner, Phil, and Henrik did in Minnesota. So why do those little crews matter, and why does it matter to work with them? Because we can all fucking benefit from it and then give each other platforms. And then everyone in Minnesota is like, no way, Tanner, fucking Henrik posted your shit, dude, you're so awesome. They were already awesome in their neighborhood. But now all of a sudden they had super legendary status. So that's why working together is super important too, because it's just, I don't know, if you're bigging up yourself all the time. Like I ran Tanner, Phil, and Henrik Social from like 2010 to 16. So whenever someone puts out something, it was always like, no way, check out what Tanner did. No way, check out what Phil did. Check out what Henrik. And because they did this and always promoted other people every day, not themselves, they still had content that promoted what the overall goal was together. Rather than being like, what trick should I post today? I need another one.
Yeah.
You know, there was none of that. It was like, dude, there's always dope shit going on with your friends, man. Go hype your friends as much as possible, because then your friends will. And now it's just like the minimum amount of like hyping of other people's shit. Like, it's so crazy to watch. Like, I don't know, like when you make movies about yourself every year, you know, it's just like, dude, how expensive is your sponsor me videotape in 2024 nowadays?
Yeah.
Because it's just to show how dope you are. And then all of a sudden you do it again the next year. And then it's like, everyone says you're dope. Then your sponsors will be like, let's do it again. Why else are you really doing it?
Yeah.
Personal opinion as a fan of what I watch without knowing.
No, I like it. Yeah, you. I mean, you live by like the rising tide raises all ships mantra, you know. And you've been so generous with your like even your brand and your time right now, like you being on here, but like all the collabs you've been doing with all these wild companies, like the fingerboards and the pant collaboration you did with Henry. Like I mean, you've been very generous with your brand, and that's because you're not out. I don't know.
But I'm just inspired by them, right? So
go ahead.
when I got back into skiing hard last spring, I was just like, man, like, I don't get it. Don't get it. I don't get baggy pants with a tight shirt. I don't get a beanie that's rolled up over your ears. I'm 44. So I'm like, all right, I don't get it, man. Let me just fucking go hard. And so when I just learned what like kids liked, I was like, well, I want to know why they like it. So then I just meet these people, hit them up and be like, yo, I don't know if you know me, because I just assume no one knows me. Right? Like I haven't done shit since 2016. So I'm like, all right, dude. And some of them don't know me. You know, it was awesome. I think, I don't know who it was when I hit them up, but then they like came back. They're like, that sounds cool. And then the next time they're like, holy shit, I just learned who you were. And I was like, awesome. You know, like I don't have an ego. I don't want to do it. The reason why I talk to them, then I'll just pick their brain. I'm like, how the fuck do you start a pant company when you're 18? He's like, actually, I've been learning my sources in Pakistan and China since I was 16. I just graduated high school tonight, and then I'm going here for this. And I'm like, dude, you're so ill. And then I just become the biggest fan of the Jib Skin pant guy. And then like same thing with the fingerboards. It's like, what? I go, I don't know if I think this is cool or not, but you know what I do think is cool? Someone doing something. And so I hit him up. I'm like, yo, I think your shit's ill, man. Like, tell me why you do it, how you do it. He's like, I got a 3D printer, you know, like, and then I saw this and I just love skiing. And like, you know, I made this edit because the reason why I loved him is the edit he made. I couldn't believe he spent so much time, or someone did. I was like, yo, you edit ill with those fingerboards. Like, but I'll tell you what, I did get a pair and I set up my table at my house, and then I could walk around in circles and do a continuous slopestyle course with my kid. And I did jib for fucking an hour straight as a 44-year-old. So I was all stoked when said and done, actually got the product rather than talking shit in my head. Yeah. But yeah, just his whole process. Like he did the 3D printing in his house. He printed the cardboard out, printed the like picture that he would post on it, and then he just used SD. And so just like his combination of understanding as an 18-year-old, where I was like, whoa, production. I know that like he's doing the cost right. You know, I know how much it costs to produce a 3D thing of plastic skis in my head on a printer, and then how much he was making, you know, say sell them for $10. He was making a good number. And then I knew he had an organic audience that was stoked. So I was like, what? So we made that, sold like 150 inspired skis. I was like, yo, that's fucked up. You know, like shred sauce, like hit those. I've known Malcolm since like he started that shit. So then I was like, yeah, let's just do weekly fucking internet contests in the summer and get kids gaming, because we only ski 6 months a year. But if you love this sport, like you love it, like, but it sucks that everyone plays Amped 2 from 2002 or fucking Skate 3. And I'm just like, so I've always been a fan of shred sauce. So I always infiltrate, like I made a B-Dog at the Sochi or the last Olympics the same day as the Olympic slopestyle run. So if you type in B-Dog Olympic run, he has more views on his shred sauce contest runs than all the Sochi slopestyle skiers combined in real life. So that's what I've loved about shred sauce, because we can interact, and I want to bring back the D&E Invitational on a live gameplay someday soon, so anyone in the world can enter it and we can have them judge and shit. So I've been working on that for a couple of years, but I don't know, stoked on everyone. Who else is fucking ill as fuck that I got? The Scards kid. Like, so a Scards, let's imagine how ill this kid is. It's 2024 and he thinks printing something on paper and shipping it is a good idea. I fucking love that. It's the most like, if you're an old person, you're like, that's just stupid. You know, like if you talk to someone that's in print, you know, or whatever, but he's so passionate about telling the story through that medium of art, through the card and printing it and getting out there. I was like, man, like you're ill as fuck too. Like, I want to use your medium to educate people about the old people because you have stats on the back. Yeah. You know, so I don't know. Yeah. Biggest point of that ramble is hyped on all the kids. And my challenge is do more. Because I know they're doing a lot, but do more and fucking work with collab as much as you can. Yeah. Pant companies, go to your fucking local ski shop and just be like, yo, you want to buy 50 pair? I'll brand them your shop name. You know, everyone likes the baggy pants. That's why he sold 200 pair of the Armadas this year. I'll cut the cost in half, make it with your name on it, and every kid locally loves me. You know, and then all of a sudden they move 50 pair of pants locally, and then all of a sudden they build their brand and whatever. But there's so many things that I want to challenge them because the social part doesn't exist so much in these kids' life. But the social part, you have to understand, you're marketing to people to sell it. So it's more than just on a two-dimensional item, even if it is direct to consumer.
Yeah. Well, I've always liked what you did with the inspired shirts where, I mean, you go on the website when you're really doing a big drop and there's an inspired shirt for, it seems like every single location on earth, you know? I always check out the Inspired Connecticut because that's where I'm from. Love to see when you're repping Connecticut, but you got some obscure places around the globe that can rep an inspired shirt. So
this is a great example of a hustle, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, originally the whole idea behind it was, have you ever seen these Hard Rock shirts, Hard Rock Cafe?
Yeah.
So they'd say like Tokyo or London.
Yeah.
So when the brand was created, I was like, yo, I want to do the same fucking thing. Because we had our record label in Jamaica that had the Africa logo, and then we had our media company that had the North America logo. And so I was like, yo, let's do all the continents. And then we had this, so we had a European one that was pretty big that Down Days created. And the whole idea, then I was like, all right, man, let's print one out for every region and stuff like this. So we slowly did that, would do 50 runoffs of 50 ski shops, hit up every ski shop, was like, yo, D-Structure, whoever it was, Panuski's. And I was like, put your name, buy 50, put them on your racks. You know, and it was small things because it wasn't big direct to consumer, but it was to build, make sure everyone, when they traveled, if they showed up at a hill in Colorado and an Inspired Minnesota shirt, people would be like, what up, Inspired? Like, it got such to the point, like, because we branded the intro to the videos so well with Callie's voice, where it'd be like, Inspired.
Yeah.
Like, we'd show up places and people would always like yell, whisper, like for years, like walk into houses, anyone in the sport of skiing anywhere in the world. It was like, that was the fun thing to say. So fast forward to the billion different images. This kid hit me up in 2020. Am I really forget? Jason from Montreal. And he's like, dude, you're like, you want to sell some shit? And I'm like, yeah, I need to. It's 2020. Life's hard. And he's like, man, you should sell your old logo. Like, I got this print to order site. It's called printful.com, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, we can do any logo you want. And so I'm like, all right, I haven't really been a company for 4 years, but, you know, kids ask. So let's see what we can do. So we ended up just put a post. I'm like, what do you want? And then I'd get a million fucking DMs every day of what they wanted and then put it on there. And I was like, holy shit. Because you can put a logo, pick all the different color sweatshirts, t-shirts, backpacks, hoodies, whatever the fuck it is, and then do it. And so then I was like, this is crazy. I'm not a company. I don't put out content. If anything, I thought this was going to be like a kid buying a Nintendo shirt where it was so fucking retro, you know, where it wasn't relevant, but it was retro. But then I was sitting the last couple of years, I was like, yo, this shit is not retro because everything's still relevant. You can still watch a B&E show from 2010 and they still kind of iller than most of the shit today. Yeah. And so, et cetera, et cetera. And then my relevancy and whatever. So it was, I don't know, it was a fun evolution. But I tell that story because once again, I say, man, if you got a company, go fucking, you can merch with no warehouse, no investment, no fucking customer service. Like, it's so, like, and I don't make a bunch of money off it, but it was maybe a couple $100 a month. And then at the same time, I was like watching a guy from Abu Dhabi buy a should have been a B-Dog hoodie or doing like 30 countries a month in sales. Now imagine if I had to like send physical product to 30 countries and they only sold one unit in each of those countries. I'd be the biggest loser of a company ever. Yeah. But because of that print to order, I was like, no way, dude. One kid in every country has an Inspired shirt in every continent except Antarctica. Fuck yeah.
That's so tight. I mean, yeah, people should check out the website when you have it live because there are some truly random corners of the globe that you get an Inspired shirt that reps them.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun to see what people get. And then they like send me their crew names. Like we were at Wild Mountain for the B-Dog event on Saturday. Yeah. And it's cameraman for MidwestSkiers.com. that was on ski blades, had an inspired shirt. I'm like, fuck yeah, dope sweatshirt. He's like, yeah, man, you made it custom for me 4 years ago. It's like inspired snail. And his nickname was Snail. So I forgot, like, I didn't know. I just made shit people asked for.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Oh man. Fuck yeah, you got the event, dude. There's so many different avenues we can go down. This is one that I said we're going to talk about the money because I know people are always interested in it. So we'll touch on that a little bit. You said that you took a little break from skiing, you came back, and all your homies were making less money despite being more successful.
Yeah.
How does something like that happen?
So I guess to answer that, like, I never really thought how it happened. I just know it happened, right? So now this will be the first time I think about it. But if I look around, like, let's say 2016 or so, 2 years after the Olympics until now, like where the money went down for everyone, I go, like, I don't know. First of all, it's bigger, right? Like, there's more events. Real ski's been created since then, like, and left now already again. But we had 2 more Olympics. And so when I look at it, and the sport's grown, right? Even the amount of people in it. Like, if you go around the country, like at these USASA events in the East Coast and West Coast, the skiers now outnumber the snowboarder, even in the competitive thing. Like, our content's there. So I guess if I was to guess, so it goes maybe back to the team idea, where, like, imagine now everyone has an agent. Most people have a handful of agencies at most in the whole industry. Now, an agent has to go to bat for you to whatever ski company and has to go pay my guy. Well, how hard can he go for you if he has 5 other skiers that he has to talk about right after that conversation? And I guarantee you every agent that every kid deals with has an agent that 5 other kids at every contest has. And so how does that person really go to bat for you? And so now all of a sudden these agents can have a bunch of kids that are all making $5,000 to $10,000 and they're getting a piece off it, and they make a living as an agency, but those kids aren't making a living individually. So I think that's what it comes down to, is there's not a team that's hyping. You know, like when Simon had his agent was his agent pretty much. There was a couple guys but his agent was at the top of the half pipe being like, fuck yeah, Simon. He was going into fucking Oakley, into Solomon, in Target, just being like, pay my guy. You know, and he could do it because he wasn't going to say that about anyone else. You know, and if they said, fuck you, get out of here, he'd be like, okay, I'm out. Peace. Doesn't affect my life. It affects your life. Says no agent probably in 2024. So I will blame agents again.
Yeah. Could you touch on a little bit about the money that was going around back in the day? Because we do it, like, there are some athletes that listen to this that are getting paid. I don't know what they're getting paid, but they know what they're getting paid. So I think, like, a good point of comparison for, like, when skiing, everyone talks about the golden era when there was, you know, tons of magazines, tons of movie companies, tons of money going around. How much were people getting paid at that time, if you could recall?
Something that has to be understood before we talk about it is, because I always thought about it too, but because the numbers were big, 2000, 2001. And what it was, why people made so much money, why the movies, why the athletes did, was because skiing numbers were down constantly in the 90s, right? So now snowboarding numbers were up. These ski companies Solomon didn't have like the extreme, like running shoes, like all these different things. Everyone wasn't owned by 2 companies at the time. So these old ski companies had to invest. Now think about how small twin tip skis are, right? There was only one model of twin tip ski in 2000, 2001, when guys are making 6 figures. So there's only 1 or 2 models in your whole company, but you got multiple guys making 6 figures. Do you think those guys are all moving the product in order to get paid? No. So every penny, why the golden era was like it, was not because people were making money for twin tips, but they were making their brands cool again on snow. Because every kid was snowboarding with their parents at luxury resorts. That had to change. That was a lot of money that was lost in the 90s to snowboarding through the whole youth culture. So we got paid to fucking make the youth culture get back into skiing and be like, fuck yeah, we love skiing. So we were never marketing Twin Tips. We were marketing Solomon. We were marketing Rosnell. We were marketing Dynastar. Why did Solomon team have so much money? Because the 1080 was under the Extreme label, right? So they had a series called the Extremes. And so this was their most basic ski that was like at REI. And so when the 1080 came out, it was marketed as a basic ski. Here's a beginner ski. Ooh, it's hourglass. Remember that? We created the contour shapes in the 90s. Oh, it's shorter. You know, that's easier for turning. It's a cheaper price point at $550 compared to the $700 normal ski that all the parents are skiing. So it worked like that to make Solomon doper. And so it got the numbers for all the brands. And I don't know, so numbers that people made, like I knew a guy that skied for Solomon, skis, boots, bindings, clothing, and then probably made like 120, 150. Then Oakley Eyewear was probably like 100. Club Med was probably at 100. So, I mean, that's one person that has, we're talking probably over 250, 300 in 2001. And so that, I mean, other people like same kind of thing, you know, and so it was big with a handful of people. You know, some people didn't get it till later, but there was so many more things like incentive. So say like the 3 fills with Dynastar, all the contracts used to have photo incentive. So Phil Bellinger got the cover of 3 magazines around the world and made an extra 40, 50,000. Mm-hmm. You had incentive if you won. Tanner, when he would win an X Games, Oakley doubled it. It was $30,000 back then.
Yeah.
So when he won X Games, he'd go home with 60G that night. So it's like it was all different because it was all this incentive to go be as cool as you can. We're going to fucking pay you for it and go. And we did it. Mm-hmm. Like we created everything that was invested in us. And as soon as like by the late 2000s, early 2000s, the investment was paid off. We got in the Olympics. The kids are all doing it. The numbers are back up. Not all the youth are being punk snowboarders anymore. You know, they're doing what mommy and daddy, like it just fits. So the money's not there because we served our purpose for what they wanted. So now we have to take that opportunity and do whatever the kids want to do again. But yeah, there won't be that money until the dopest thing is this. If you line up hot dog skiing and freestyle ski, like modern twin tips, and you start both sports 1969, 1999, the exact same thing happens in hot dogging, turning into freestyle, turning into an Olympic sport, failing, dying. Mm-hmm. So we're in about 1994 right now, where skiing was pretty retarded. And so it's really up to the youth what they do next. What they say is fucking dope and say, fuck you guys, we're doing this. And then all of a sudden the numbers are going to be down because the only thing that makes money in skiing is real estate. So then it's going to be like, well, what is it? I don't know. But some kid will be passionate and crew, but it'll take not only like one kid doing it. That's like because I know enough kids now where I've seen, I'm like, holy shit, they're so ill. But I don't know if they're ever going to like get together with a crew, the right cameraman, the right friends, the right guy, filmer, whatever. Mm-hmm. So that means no one will ever know, and no one will care.
Yeah. See, this is why knowing your history is important, because you explaining it that way, that's the first time, at least to me, that it's ever made sense why there's not money in skiing right now. It's because they were throwing money as something that was dead in hopes that it would come back to life. And it worked. And it worked. But if you don't know that history and it's 2024 and you're getting pissed off with your sponsor because they're offering you less than 10 grand when you know that dudes were getting 100 grand 20 years ago, it's like trying to get like blood from a stone. Like you're looking for something where it's like it's not there because it's not.
Like think of the contest, man. Think of like the World Cups. You watch a World Cup, if it doesn't get canceled, it's only the parents of those competitors at the base. Mm-hmm. Like we don't even have a purpose of entertainment anymore. The only reason we had 10,000 people, 20,000 people at Vail at US Open Big Airs was because they let us dance, be the dancing monkeys on President Weekend. Village Vail was full. They needed entertainment with fireworks. We crashed a lot and we flipped a lot. It made the crowd go ooh and ah. So that's why the entertainment value is there. We were only hired as entertainment during a popular time. So take that into account too, kids. Like, know that you're entertainers. Find when you can entertain at the places people will allow you to entertain. And then what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You know, like, so say, for example, what can I do in Minnesota? I'm like, man, Highland Hills. I want to, they do outdoor movie nights. What if I asked them if we could do an outdoor ski movie night? And then show all the fucking Midwest kids flicks, and it's free to the public, and we have 2,000 people sitting on the fucking thing. Well, now I'm promoting everything in the Midwest, got 2,000 people that are new to the culture. Well, what else can you do? Merchandise. Like, if you have like Midwest skier, like, he'll probably sell 100 sweatshirts that night. You know, maybe I'll sell, I could probably sell like 100 Ski Boss hooded sweatshirts just because they're like, Ski Boss, ski movies, I'm a boss. They don't need to know who Tanner is. So use your opportunities for access of entertainment with the art that you have and show up. You know, like even you, if you like showed up only at events to do your podcast and you had someone pay you then to travel, and then they're like, no way, you have some logo behind you because you're podcasting live from this area during that event with so-and-so. It's like, that's your only thing you're missing on the moneymaker.
Yeah.
And it could be the same people that you would love to talk to right now, but maybe there's this angle, you know, and it's just like, that's what I want to find for like MidwestSkiers.com. I love them. I'm like, dude, you drive to every ski hill every day, 3 different ski hills around from Ohio to Minnesota, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Upper Michigan. He's like, yeah. Dude, I'm like, how do you not have a local car sponsor? All you got to do is walk right in there and say, yo, I put 80,000 miles on a moving billboard in an area that's going to pass 5 million people and then it's going to park at luxury resorts where everyone can afford a nice big ass fucking $80,000 SUV, and I'll just brand your fucking dealership on it. And then go make sure you go find a guy who owns the dealerships in the biggest radius as possible, not just one, and then get paid and get a free car.
So ill.
You know, and that's a guy who only loves Minnesota Midwest skiing. So there's ways, like in everything that we do, because I put together a slope style contest. I'm like, well, how would I do a slope style series in the Midwest, Minnesota? Am I going to go to a monster to be my presenting sponsor, and then a ski company to do this, and maybe they'll give me giveaways? I'm like, that don't pay the bills. I go, what can every ski kid parents afford? A custom home. So go to custom home companies on Lake Minnetonka. Hey, you guys want to be a presenting sponsor? Sweet. A lot more money than ski companies. And then that'll be like, what can they all afford? A Land Rover. Oh, what if you type in Land Rover free skiing in Google? There's 1 million branded photos already because they sponsored the U.S. team. Now I can go to the Land Rover dealership and be like, yo, you want to sponsor the local up-and-coming Olympic Slopestyles tour for the kids locally? Hell yeah, they do. Here's a Land Rover and some cash. Oh, man, what do all other kids need that fucking have enough money to ski every weekend? A bank account. Go to the bank. Hey, you want to sponsor my tour? Everyone has a bank account, and they all got lots of money. Want to sponsor my tour? So I tell that story because I'm saying rethink about who you have the opportunity to surround yourself by. Because, I mean, pretty much every person that's listening to this probably has most likely parents that know other people. And that's why it's so important to network, so important to meet people, so important to ask people what they do. So, you know, like, what can I do for you? And then all of a sudden, if you just ask everyone what you can do for them, all of a sudden, one day, maybe in 20 years, like, they can do something for you. Who knows? It's not why you give. But I'll tell you what, if you only focus on giving, but meeting people and then giving, like, crazy shit comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, I mean, that's like a business fundamental. Just provide as much value as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like even like you, like it's so big for me to talk with this. I can say, Phil, Henrik, man, they're gods. Go fucking understand them. Go learn their lifestyle. Understand that they fucking like they're here for another 20 years. You want to last for 20 years? Understand why they did. Because that's a long ass fucking career. I have a photo that with Phil when he's in February 2004 holding his Armadas that he got from JP. And I took a photo with the same Armadas, like, but my skis from yesterday. 2024.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, you've been doing this shit for 20 years?
So sick.
You only fucking 34?
Yeah.
And both him and Henrik, they're like, yeah, like Henrik's like, I got 2 more Olympics minimum.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like I can do this till whenever, man. Like I visualize every trick I do for like a half year before I do it minimum. So why couldn't I just keep landing my whole life?
Yeah. And honestly, that made me think of like what a blessing it is that skiing's so young, that all the OGs, you know, besides the ones that have passed too soon, are around. You know, you go to Mammoth in last July, I'm hanging out with Tanner in the parking lot, and it's just like, dude, that's fucking Tanner Hall right there. And he's just hanging out with his dog, you know?
And the hood people get the same thing with like a Pollard.
Yeah.
The fucking people in France or wherever, La Cluzon with Candide, they get that there.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone still gets it. And they're like, holy shit, this guy still shreds. And I get to see him, really?
Yeah, it's like, and it's just these living legends because the sport's so young. Like, it's like you're just kicking it with Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan of your sport, you know, whoever that is to you. And they're just around, and you could probably DM them like 90% of the time. But but that's not always going to be that way, you know. You go another 40 years if free skiing's still what it is, you know. You guys aren't just going to be hanging out at the mountain. It's going to then, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. That's why this. So I think I told you yesterday. Imagine let's say Tanner first won in 2001. So it's 13 years ago, right? Or 23 years ago.
Yeah.
23 years ago, Tanner Hall was the shit. Today, he's still fucking out in the streets right now.
Yeah.
You know, so 23 years. Now let's imagine the year 2000 and we subtract 23 years and go to 1977.
Yeah.
Was there anyone in skiing that was dope in 1977 that was dope in the year 2000 in any genre? And we can do that at 23-year bar slide or even 20 with Phil and Henrik. And there's never been a genre in the sport where someone has been iconic since a youth and held it. I mean, even Kai Peterson, he's been sponsored since he was 12. He's 34 now, and he still does more ascends and descends of new lines and gnarly shit that anyone does. And then he's a filmmaker. He ended up winning like 2016, I think he won, or 17, he won like Ski Movie of the Year as a director. He just put out his full series under MSP, like Sacred Grounds, like 23. So this is 2001 to now, 23 years later, Kai Peterson at age 34 only is fucking putting out full series like that are amazing audio scores, visual scores, and then is the illest skier in the whole project. So like, it's a really interesting thing where, and trust me, like they go through, like, if you really take care of yourself fully, and you want to make it, you're going to have your struggles financially. Yeah. But the point is, like, when you keep going, and Kai is a great example of this because he's had to do a lot on his own and take care of others, which is one of the very, 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 very few people maybe I've ever met in my whole life that have to take care of themselves in the ski world. So yes, it's true. It's going to be a struggle, but like, I don't know, he's living proof. Like you can just, and like he's been on his own. So I mean, he lost his dad when he was like 6 or something, and then fucking like I was his legal guardian when he was 13.
Crazy, dude. I love the history. You ever think about writing a book about the history of skiing?
No, I figured the 2 biggest dreams is I want to do a Quebec Hall of Fame in Quebec somewhere. I've had that dream for like, because there's so many legends. I believe Quebec's the mecca of our sport. Yeah. And so like I wanted to do something pretty dope with Phil Bellinger there. And then over the years, I always wanted to do a physical Hall of Fame for the whole sport. But as the world gets smaller because traveling's harder and it's not like it was, like I want to figure out like a online Hall of Fame for our sport, like not a virtual reality, but like a, I don't know, somewhere where you can interact with it. You know, so like if you went in, someone inducted, you can do the proper ceremony live, then you can go live their experiences of all their accomplishments in that room and watch their shit, experience it, whatever. But I figure that's a big goal. But no, writing a book, no.
Yeah. Dude, a physical, I mean, I've thought that before too, like the Hall of Fame, because I'm big into the physical artifacts of skiing. Like we're doing that magazine project. I have every single issue of Freeze magazine sitting on my shelf, and to me that's a ski artifact. You know, how many people other than like Mike Jaquit and all the OGs that were involved with Freeze have a complete collection that survived, you know, 20 something years that hasn't gotten ruined by like a flood in their mom's basement or something, you know? And all the VHS tapes, all the movies that are lost to history, you know? These physical artifacts, all the skis behind you, they got to go somewhere. So it can't all be digital because the sport was,
I guess I just looked at
physical.
it as projects I can realistically accomplish
Yeah.
on the scale that I want to do it.
Yeah, that's the
You
issue.
know, because like everything is so big in my head, and then like as far as like the sport, how international it is, like when you really break down the Hall of Fame and then get into other countries, like even in America, it's pretty nuts. Like when you do it, because you can go through every region, and there's guys that created the sport that you don't know about. You know, like in Mount Hood, there's these guys, Fraser, Josh Fraser, and Griffin Cummings. They created a thing called solution tips in like the mid 90s, where you'd screw on a tip on the tail of a regular ski so you could have twin tips on any ski you'd buy. You know, so, and these guys were all snowboarders that then skied. My crew in Minnesota in the early 90s would put their skis in ovens because that's how you bend hockey sticks, and then bend up the tails, and then they would drill their rollerblade boots into the ski. And so I'd watch people do like 180s, switch 540s like this on weird rollerblades drilled to 200 centimeter long skis with tails bent up from an oven.
Yeah.
So like if you really want to do the proper Hall of Fame, you know, where you don't leave certain elements out of the creation, like it's so important. Yeah. Like there's so many, like in Scandinavia and in France, and like French and Switzerland and France have so many OGs that just never have gotten anything because there's Candide and that's it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you're gonna be stoked. I would love to go someplace like that. That'd be sick.
Well, it would be beyond dope, man. Like trust me, it's been my dream my whole life, like to do that, you know, but then like, so what can I do that's realistically is create a medium to tell the whole story. So like going back to how I told you before, if you take 1969 and 99, parallel it. So like I've written like a 5-part Netflix series where I want to show the history of the sport. Like, and I'll call it an art form killed by a sport. And so it shows how they're both created as art forms only, right? Even when hot dogging was done, you have ski dancing and shit like this before it was called ballet. And so like all these things, and then hot dogging turns into moguls, aerials, and ballet. Our sport turned into half pipe, big air, and slope style. So you can even watch how the competitive genres break off, and then it kills the sport. And so it's a super fun fucking piece because it ends with a to be continued for whatever the next generation creates, because that'll be the third revolution of freestyle skiing. You know, because whatever freestyle is, we don't have a fucking clue because it's a freestyle.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't really line up too well because they've been in the streets for a minute. But it seems like street skiing is having that kind of countercultural effect where it's like, oh, you guys thought skiing in the park was cool? Nah, that shit's mainstream. That's athletics. Like, we're taking this to the street. Like, riding in the park is whack. It doesn't count if you didn't land in the street. This is just thinking.
I agree with you, but let's look at it a business only. Let me imagine you're like, hey, Eric, can I get a free pair of skis from whatever brand I have? And you're like, I'm the illest street skier. Did you see my segment last year? And I'd be like, how many pairs of skis did you break? And he's like, 4. And then I'm like, everyone in the world knows you and wants to buy what you fucking sell? Hell yeah. Okay, so does that mean I'm going to have to answer a warranty call for every fucking pair that I sell under your name and put a pro? It's the worst business. So when looking at it, it's fun. I haven't talked about this or thought about it, but like, what are you going to do, Zoot Space? What are you going to do, fucking crews that are fucking murdering it? And you're all in your early mid 20s now. And you're like, why does no one sponsor me? I'm going to make jet skis. You know, like, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with your art? Are you going to travel it, show up, make appearance fees, like go to every university in the Midwest or whatever fan base loves and knows you the most because you bring the party and the entertainment? Because there's no way you're going to get ski sponsors. You are the opposite of the luxury market. You're trashy looking, you're breaking the product. And this is real. I'm into all this shit. Like, I love it all. But I'm saying if you really are giving, I watch all these guys. Like, I've known Patty Flanagan since he was 7. I sponsored him when he was that age and gave him everything. But like, I see him as such a talented guy. But if he had the right crew, and maybe he does, like, but the crew that looks at the business element too, it says, yo, guys, you want to do this again next year? Everyone's like, I don't know if I can. I got my girlfriend. I'm working fucking 40 hours this week. Maybe I can sue some urban on Saturday and Sunday night. That dream's over really soon. He's going to be hurt, miss his job, and his girlfriend's going to be pissed. Future wife. So look at it like, what can you do? Because you're artists, you're entertainers, you're creating art because the urban guys have the most artistic movies. You know, like, it's a lot better than the cheese wedge jumps in the backcountry of shit that's unrealistic. But what are you really going to do to survive to do it again next year? When parents' insurance runs out for health insurance, 22 to 24 years old. So that's almost going to kill half of that industry that fucking can afford to shred and get hurt. Because shit's expensive. There's a reason why a certain population doesn't do sports that hurt themselves. And it has to do with health insurance.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is good. Like, how do you make it profitable though? Like, you've given the ways that it can't work. Is there
I don't know. That's why I'm saying it's the first time I thought about it. It's a great question. But what I'm saying is, you're creating art, you produce entertainment, and you have a crew that's mobile.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You know, like Zoot Space, man. What if they showed up, fucking had a homie that was a DJ and fucking went to just different bars and fucking sold merch and fucking partied with the locals that night? Ski movie and party with Zoot Space. No way. What's Zoot Space? Oh, it sounds like something that you'd snort. Yeah, maybe it's not. But the point is that all of a sudden you're spreading your culture, you're spreading your brand. And because you have to think about it as you have an opportunity to spread a brand. So you're either marketing. Biggest thing you can learn in life is you're either a producer or you're a consumer. So if you're producing shit, that means you're marketing stuff, you're putting it out there. Well, who are you marketing? What are you putting out there? Are you putting out a sponsor me video? Or are you saying, my shit's so dope, go buy what I rock? And then go own what you rock.
What do you think about the anti-marketing marketing, where it's like you try to keep it only word of mouth just to kind of create that aura of coolness and coreness?
Skiing, I think, is too small. Our numbers are so now, like, there's ways of doing it if you're thinking big. And an example would be, so you look at Henrik, where it necessarily wasn't thought about with Harlaut apparel, but it is expanded now, where dope-ass snowboarders buy his clothes that are pros because they can't get a clothing sponsor. Skateboarders are rocking jeans and shorts. So now all of a sudden the Harlaut name has infiltrated a whole culture outside of snow skiing, because it was like, oh man. And that's what, I don't know. What was your fucking question?
The anti-marketing. What do you think of that? Like trying to just do the word of mouth, trying to keep it.
I don't think it's good. I think the dopest shit, like, that's why I'm saying work together, man. Like, if more people knew about Make Homies, Make Homies is the illest brand name I've ever fucking heard. I'm just sitting there, I'm talking to them, I'm like, do you know, like, if you DM rappers, like, go find some positive rappers that are young and then send them these, or fucking just have your brand Make Homies. Don't say it if they fucking aren't into the scene of making friends and they kill people. I go, it's still a face mask. Like, and then just fucking get it on them, make it custom. They'll be like, no way, I got it. And I'm like, dude, this is how much it costs you in production. Go make me $200 worth of 3-hole face masks they can roll up. I'll go send them out to fucking dope ass rappers. And they'll probably wear them in a music video or a shoot because they look like they're robbing a bank.
Yeah.
You know, so there's, yeah, go talk to people. Don't do the word of mouth is cool, but like the coreness, we're so little, like the coolest core all needs to know about you. You know, if everyone in every region knew about Make Homies, and I had to like decipher Make Homies through fucking kids in Utah. And I was like, why does everyone in Utah love fucking Make Homies? And then I hit them up and I'm like, yo, you're from My Hill in Minnesota? Wouldn't even had a clue. I'm like, you got to bring your shit out to B-Dog's event. Tell everyone you're from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's when keeping it core goes wrong.
All right. I think that you have some good insight on this because we're talking about the businesses. We're talking about rider-owned businesses, rider-started businesses. Do you think that if you guys, you know, the group, the Armada collective, you know, just that archetype of person, guys in their 20s, whether if you put yourself in your 20s now or
even late teens, man. You have to understand, Tanner was 19.
Yeah.
Boyd Easley was 19. Anthony Bornowski was 19. Julian Renier was 21. Kusan was 22. And JP was 22. So, I mean, like, really understand, because I hate when people say, someone's like, oh, he's only 21. I'm like, yeah, he's 21. He makes as much as his parents make by doing 9 to 5. That's a big. Let's learn how much we make and how much is in taxes, and how much has to come in to go out. I don't know, because I hear it. That's what I heard a lot in my whole ski career. When I'd be pissed at my friends that skied, they'd be like, "Yeah, but come on, Iberg, they're young." I'm like, I'm the same fucking age as them.
Well, my question is, do you think that you guys could do what you did with Armada today? Or was it because...
Fuck yeah, dude.
You think so?
You know, so you could have... The best guy that could have done it last was Tom Wallish. Like, he could have sold any product that he would have created. It would have been the wildest rider-owned company. Like, how many people wanted Burton pants because of him? He just revolutionized shit. So then I look at this, and then now it's like it has to be a collective, right? As far as groups, and that's what Armada was, right? You had a French guy, you had 2 Quebecers, you had 2 Americans, and a British Columbia guy. And so we were able to like kind of take these people where the narrative was like, oh, no way. We got all 3 Rosnold best guys. We got 2 Solomon guys and a K2 guy. So everyone's like, what the fuck is that? So how do you tell this story? You know, it's like, could you imagine if like, I don't know, I guess I look at it, and maybe I'm ignorant, but like I look at someone like Alex Hall, who I believe is like the biggest name, who has the most crossover to kids and old people. And so you have to understand, like when me and my crew walk into a let's say the chalet, the lodge, the country club, it's like Happy Gilmore. You know, it's like, who the fuck are these guys? And it's all weird because we are characters and stuff like that. And what I think Alex has is just that whole idea of what everyone wants to embrace. And like, he could fucking murder it so hard, dude. And like, there's so many angles that are fucking fun to break down. And like, I don't know, work with like, and then you can put people on too. Because once you go murder it by yourself, then you get a platform. Like Tanner did it with every person that he ever skied with. He's like, I'm fucking killing it. Sean, Kai, you rolling with me. All right. Sean, they're both signed, like fucking Sean Pettit was the youngest fucking Red Bull sign ever. And then just went and murdered it because of the wings that he got taken under. So like the platforms that you can provide for your friends is wicked. Once you kind of focus just like on murdering it for yourself. Don't murder for yourself, but always be the best self you can be. Know that every day when you wake up, like I can be better today, and not at all saying just focus on yourself, because that's the fine line you have to walk as being the best at something. You have to work with a bunch of other people, but you have to know you're the illest in the fucking world. So you can't let an ego get in the way of a confidence.
Yeah. Dude, you got to be like a consultant for these guys because you got some ideas, man.
That's why I want to use your podcast for it, man.
Yeah.
Like, listen to, because I guess I just, from afar, not being in the circles, I hear the complaining about how there's no money, you know? And then I hear it from Tanner, like, as far as the old people go. And then I just, like with Phil and Henrik, like they're at a perfect prime position where I can help them now. And we've done a shitload in the last year. So it's like, I see where we can go, what we can do, how we can do it. Look at like how Henrik does it with like the Harlaut crew, right? These motherfuckers are so ill in their communities. Like as far as like Boldo's crew, like Noah's the best in his country of Andorra, so like, and then who's homie from Norway, Crypto Skier.
Yeah.
Like, and then he's down with the ON3P guys. So it's like the whole Harlaut thing is a collaborative where Henrik gives like a platform to all the Harlaut crew, but the Harlaut crew is doing their things with their own crews. So it's like so crazy. And that's why Harlaut Apparel works. Like, it's just like, no way, man. They support everything because he supports those guys, So it's a great formula. If you really look at Harlaut and what he did, and it's like, he's just learning. It's not something that is a genius idea, but it's because of doing it the right way and taking the time. He didn't have a clothing sponsor from 2015 until he started Harlaut Apparel till like 2019. Why? Because every ski company said, we don't want to make baggy pants. Mm-hmm. He said, fuck it. I'm going on eBay and I'm buying baggy pants and I'm still going to win. And then I don't have to worry about like that extra $40,000 from the ski company. And so he does this and then he goes and dominates from like 2016 through 2020 and then launches his shit today. This is the illest thing. 2024. How many baggy pant companies are there in the world that only make baggy pants? A good amount.
Yeah, there's a lot.
In 2018, before Harlaut Apparel started, there was not one. And that product is something that Henrik had to tell everyone that he wanted to sign with or ask them if he'd be like, you got double XL? They'd be like, nope. He goes, all right, have a good day. So just also that's how you really have to look as a skier too. Like, what am I really true about? Am I going to ski forever? And then if you ever think you're going to retire from skiing, then just don't listen to anything I have to say today. You know what I mean? Because you'll never see Tanner, Phil, or Henrik retire. You're never going to see Eric Pollard retire. Never see Kai Peterson retire. Like you see Sean Pettit evolve into snowboarding more and more art. You never see Candide retire. So like really throw out everything I have to say if your goal is to win a gold and then become a ski with a pro at Deer Valley. Because that road's pretty easy too.
Could you tell them what you're telling me yesterday about how, you've already done the dancing monkey for the rich explanation of it, but could you talk about athletes being independent contractors and how calling them athletes is kind of inaccurate?
So I guess like, I don't know, my time away from skiing, I had a lot of time to look and then also coming back at shit, like what's going on, how does it all work and whatever. And then listening to my friends tell their stories about money. And so when you look at it, like you're a 1099 employee, which means you're a subcontracted employee, right? Any contract these kids get. And so when you do that, you're not an employee or work for the company that sponsors you. So that means you're not a professional athlete. It's not like a football player, basketball player, hockey player. And I learned this more because I talked to a shitload of agents last summer that didn't deal with ski stuff. And they're like, man, your world is so confusing. And then they explain their world of being an agent. And when they sign a deal, it's with the team and then they get paid because it's a team deal. Like, and then that athlete's guaranteed taken care of with the team, like their health benefits, all the shit that goes on. And then endorsement deals, not sponsorships, right? So I decipher the words and all this. And so I looked at it I was like, holy cow. So these kids are subcontracted athletes and not professional athletes. And I go, okay, well, that's still kind of interesting because it's not like they're paying them for their skill set, because how do we know what your value is? Because there's no union for the players or the skiers. So then you're not really an athlete, right? If you don't have a value for performance or what you bring in, like for your numbers of the company, because there's no jerseys of sales, there's no certain things that relate to numbers, maybe a pro mod. But even then, it's going to be manipulated in the conversation with the sponsor. Like, oh, you only sell X amount, you can have this amount, this is why it costs that. You don't fucking know. And no one's going to argue it. So I looked at it, I was like, man, it's kind of more like these kids are subcontracted marketing companies. And I was like, all right, that makes sense. So I guess the way I look at it now, like with Phil and Henrik, when I work with them, I'm like, okay, you guys let's take a step back. These people aren't hiring you to be this professional athlete. They're hiring you to market their brand. So Phil, when you sell a pair of skis, are you only selling B-Dog skis? Of course not. There's junior skis in the line. There's powder skis in the line. There's women's skis in the line that think you're cool, et cetera, et cetera. So you're really being hired by that brand to go and fucking make that brand really cool. And then they have a huge offering. So he skis for their outerwear, but say he doesn't, like Henrik, well, he still allows to say that Armada's outerwear is awesome. So Henrik Harlaut is a marketing company for Armada skis, but then so is Idolo and so is V-Dog, because these are their brands. So this is where creating a character comes into play huge in the big picture. Because imagine your marketing company, B-Dog, Idolo, is subcontracted to market a brand. Well, fuck yeah. Now you're a marketing company that happens to have a dope ass name that's a successful person. And so when you're done with your career and they say, we can't pay you anymore, your brand has millions upon millions of dollars put into promoting and marketing your brand, right? Say everyone wanted to drop these guys tomorrow. How many products had their name on it for the last fucking decade or so? How much does it cost to produce those products? Like, it's nuts. So and then people are out there as wearing them as billboards still to this day. Mm-hmm. So that's how every kid should look at themselves too, is like, okay, I'm a marketing company, but it's not just about, this is where everyone's lost. They think it's about content production. Gotta post every day, hashtag, tag them. No, kids, go create something that people talk about you and say, fucking, I hate you or I love you, but be true to yourself and then do it the best you can do it. And then know that that was your goal. And if you just follow that path, I think you're pretty fucking stoked.
Yeah. It's all interesting stuff, man. If I was trying to make some money in skiing, I would love to have you in my corner, whispering in my ear, telling me these things. So Phil and Henrik are very
That's why
lucky.
I want to tell everyone, because I honestly think there's so many characters nowadays, but they don't play their character up enough.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you play your character up enough, kind of make yourself be untouchable. Like, I didn't have a lot of pictures out there in my life, but like, dude, let's imagine this, like Dubsky 106. I have 2 rap songs in that whole song. Like, one's a conscious one that Pollard used, and then one's about midgets. But because I use someone like Evan Raps for the in-between segments, everyone's like, oh, they all think they're so ghetto. They think they're gangster. I had Rory Silva to Marilyn Manson in that movie. How is that ghetto or gangster? Yeah. And so like, I can preconceive with my art to make people have certain opinions to love or hate.
Yeah.
And it's totally, you can still create your own art any way you want. And it's fun as fuck. So I don't know. I think I want to tell it all that way because there's so many kids right now. And I get some kids are doing it, but then I see some kids that do it, but then they're mimicking their favorite person.
Yeah.
They're not being their own person. Like, go be fucking weird.
Damn, bro. Damn.
Damn, bro.
It's all good. Yeah, it's no one's talking about it this way. So yeah, I think it's great that we're sharing it with everyone. I got a question for you that you mentioned. So why don't you think why can't these skiers unionize? Because there's like I know like the NFLPA, the
Because
NFL
they're
Players
not
Association.
professionals.
Yeah.
It's like if you said, "Hey, marketing companies, go union against your people that are hiring you to fucking you work for."
Yeah.
No one's going to hire you.
Yeah.
If you had a union, like how is your union going to put a base on what your value is? And then they have to only look at World Cups. They can't put a value on your art. So a union is impossible. I mean, the closest thing we ever had is that thing Free Skier tried to do, AFP or something.
Yeah, AFP.
Something like this, but it was bros. And their only evaluation was contest results.
Yeah.
And so once we start only on contest results, but then all the different contests are run by different organizations, then it's like creating a union for boxers. But now there's 8 heavyweight champions of the world nowadays compared to when there was only one.
Yeah.
So it's not possible. It's impossible.
Even in the comp side, it's not possible.
No, not unless you create a union for World Cup skiers, but then there's still that you're like, oh, I'm a World Cup skier that like pretty much 99% of them only get paid under their national team.
Yeah.
If you go to the team, like how many teams still wear full outfits that have patches on it? Like when you watch the World Cups, like Team Italy, a handful of other, that means the money goes to the team first, then the coaches, then all the shit, and then the kids buy the coat with the patches on it. When I learned that as a kid, like the guys on the US team didn't get free American Airlines or a free Visa card. I was like, well, you don't get free plane tickets? You bought that coat? Yeah. I was so bummed as a 16-year-old when I learned that about the mogul and ballet skier.
Damn, man. It's so ridiculous. Yeah. This is just this is just a treasure trove of great insight,
I think
man.
There's enough creatives out there right now, and there's enough hard workers out right now to not be looking. Imagine like going to companies too that don't know it, like they don't, what direction you want to bring the sport. I know what direction I want to bring the sport. Someone who really loves it, who's documenting it knows. So why go to these brands that you're trying to convince?
Yeah.
That's just what I want to do. They're like, I don't know. It's not really what we're trying to do, but I see people like it. Fuck that person. They're not paying you enough to like even hang out with them. You know what I mean? Like there's no way, unless you're paying me $100,000 to like kind of talk shit on me, then I can hang out with you.
Yeah. All right, man. We're approaching 2 hours. I wanna pimp some of your stuff. So you just had the event in Minnesota. Anything else you want to pimp? You want to talk about that a little bit? I mean,
I guess so, like with B-Dog, so I'm working with Phil and Henrik a bunch and just kind of like working on everything with their brand, right? So like Phil put out like a comic book this fall. He had a motion comic that he put out in December. Working on another one. We'll work on like try to get publishing for the whole series. Then we have a comic book, Once Upon a Style, that features B-Dog, the skier on twin tips, right? That's relevant with the rest. So that's something that we're working on. He has some other animation stuff that he's working on, multiple like film projects. And then another big thing when we sat down, it's like, what do we want to do? It's like, we want to create a contest for B-Dog. So I was like, all right, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to do an event in Quebec where I invite the best skiers and snowboarders, legends and young kids, and then they come. So we did a B-Dog off the leash event like the 29th of December, and it was ill as fuck. Like it was in the pouring rain, but it was 20 skiers and 15 snowboarders, all Quebecers, all legends to young kids, and just session for like 3 hours. And we had like $8,000 that Phil just hung out. And so B-Dog then brought the ski and snowboard community together in Quebec for the first time ever and just hung out as B-Dog in his hometown of Shawinigan and handed out money. So this goes to a branding idea, right? Not only is it a dream of Phil to do an event in his hometown that he grew up on, but how does B-Dog, the brand, market something out of it? All right, now snowboarders think B-Dog put on the coolest snowboard event that was with skiers in his hometown. Now the younger skiers, younger snowboarders see that the legends and whoever love B-Dog more and more. We like his brother runs live feed. We did this. So then with me, I live in Minnesota. I was like, man, you've come here for movie premieres. You've come here for the demo tour. Let me do something here. But I want to do it like an open rail jam. So like any kid can enter and whatever. And we just hand kids money, even if they slide a box. So the event we created at Wild, kids could sign up for like $10 at Wild, show up. Then they had like what was it? Like you could sign up for 2 different categories. Like 1, just getting beginning and stoked to ski, or 2, I'm coming to murder features. And so we had like 110 kids. Again, Phil just had a megaphone, hit a siren whenever someone did something dope. And then I hung out at the bottom, handed out like $8,000. So it was awesome because we had like 3-year-old to 50-year-old. And so it just kind of laps, saw like 10,000 laps and maybe like 5 hours on a rope tow. And it was awesome. So yeah, now we'll do the same thing with Henrik. We've got an event called Dolo Day in Andorra at the Henrik Harlaut Snow Park the last Saturday of March. So we'll just kind of recreate the same thing that we did with Phil in Minnesota for Henrik with snowboarding and open to everyone as well. And then, jam sessions is just Henrik and Noah hanging out, handing out money.
So sick. So sick. Yeah. Anything else you're working on right now? I see that you get the Inspired store going every now and then.
So that I'm shutting down. I did it because people would want it. And then when it dies down, it costs me money monthly to run. So I shut it down and turn it on when it gets annoying, when enough kids ask me to buy stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it off, I think, today. And so that's not really a thing. Inspired is just kind of something that people ask for, and extra sources of income always help, even if it's a little.
Yeah.
And then, but I guess what's the biggest shit? So I am working on a B&E show. And hopefully that'll be the first B&E show since 2016. And then we're working on filming that hopefully this summer. And then hopefully that's a pretty big song as well for the 2 artists that I'm bringing together for it. And so hopefully we just drop a B&E show that's up to par from how we left it off originally. And then helping Henrik with his movie. So hopefully we have a big Harlow kind of team movie thing that comes out this fall. Working on tours. So like the tours in the fall time, like we can bring a bunch of different stuff together, whether it's a project from Phil or Henrik, and then also add in music. So we have concerts and short format ski edits. So this way we can tap into like, okay, how do you get a big crowd that's there for the music, but then we intertwine to make sure everyone screams at the ski movie and not get bored, because it's pretty boring for someone who doesn't consume skiing like us. So like if we do, like, goal is to like do a 3 to 5 minute edit concert, like another 3 to 5 minute edit concert, and then end with like whatever our feature 15-minute video is, but then do another concert. But then we can tap into a 3-artist performance, selling tickets to concerts, but then make everyone watch ski movies while the concert, the acts change. You know what I mean? Because you have to have a dark time anyway between acts. So let's make skiing, make that event happen, show them skiing while the new act goes on. And then realistically, we make the money off creating, an event. Just happens to have skiing in it.
An experience, yeah, that just happens. Yeah, skiing just happens to be part of it. That's crazy. Yeah, I love it. I think
there's more.
You got more going on?
But I don't know what it is right now.
I think that's a good way to wrap it up. I mean, so much stuff going on. You talk big and then show up big. Like we've been talking about, hey, you could do this, hey, you could do that. And I mean, you're still living it, and you've been living it for over 20 years. And it's so tight. We'll wrap it up with I didn't do any viewer questions from this because I wanted this one to be a little bit of a surprise when I post it. People are going to be stoked. What's your, I usually collect some viewer questions, so I'll just do that style. What's your favorite ski movie of all time?
What the fuck is it called? Hey, well, so it's came out in 1971. Hey, I don't know. I forget it, but it's the dopest fucking movie. I'll try to find it and tell you again.
Yeah.
But they made a documentary that they followed around the hot dog tour in 1971, and you could win a Corvette at every stop and $20,000 at a hot dog contest in 1971. These guys flew private, all the fucking competitors like Wayne Wong, John Clendenin, all these original hot. So when you think that we were in our heyday in the early 2000s, the hot doggers in the early 70s made even more. And then because skiing was even more luxurious in the 70s, it was the gnarliest lifestyle. So they have this documentary that just follows these guys around, fucking smoking weed on the chairlifts between their contest run, fucking doing lines of coke, naked in the hot tub with hot chicks. And you're like, oh my God, skiing is so fucking awesome. So I forget the name of it, but yeah, follows around the 1971 freestyle tour.
Hell yeah. And if you were going to recommend any of your movies to the general audience, what's a must watch that you've put out?
I love them all the same, to be honest, because it's all groups of friends that like created my movies were all like my friend's dream. And then I just bring their dream together and add a twist and make sure everyone talks about it and stuff. So yeah, I like them all.
Hell yeah. Word. Well, thank you for coming on, man. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, where could they find you?
I don't know. Follow Phil or Henrik.
Word.
And you'll probably see some shit that I'll do with them. But yeah, Inspired Media is just kind of like my little history. So if you follow Inspired Media TV, it's like I just try to do it for little pieces of history that no one else seems to talk about.
Yeah. Sick. Well, that's it. And I appreciate coming on, man. That was the truth right there. Hell yeah.
It'll be funny how that gets dissected on the hate of agents. Yeah. Ended on that, man. Everyone fire your agent. If you don't make over 100,000, you're fucking being lazy in life.